We went into the pandemic. We were in quarantine. I got sent back to Canada. They were like, Tate, we need a music video. I was, how am I going to do this? Like, I'm in Calgary at home with my mom and dad. Like, what am I going to do? So me and my friend, we went up to this rooftop and I was like on my mom's car. Like, we were like driving around. And I got like 2 tissue boxes and put it at the front of my mom's car and then taped my phone there. You know Video Star that like everyone uses when they're like 7? That's what I used because I didn't know how to like film anything. So we got like 1 take. I sent it to the label and I was like, this is what I got. Work with it. The most important thing about writing an emotional song is that there's good people in the room. When we walked into the session, I don't think any of us were really expecting to like go into a deep place like that. Surprisingly, this was the first time I had met like both people in the room. So, well, Victoria, I met her once before, but Blake was the first time I ever met him. Super chill guy. We were like sitting in his apartment, like eating cookies. I didn't realize how talented he was until we actually like got the song back 2 months later, because at first it was just a piano he laid down. And then once he put to production, I was blown away by how talented he was. At the end of the session, I don't think any of us really thought that we had a very emotional song. 2 months later, I got the song sent back to me. I was like, man, that's kind of good.
Maybe you don't like talking too much about yourself, but you should have told me that you were thinking about someone else.
When you're trying to like be very descriptive and talk about a person, you obviously don't know their perspective because you're not in their head. But sometimes I like take characteristics and traits from myself and like try to translate it to the other person. I'm so bad at talking about myself. I actually, it's like kind of, it's ironic because I'm like always doing like YouTube videos and singing and stuff like that. But the one thing I do stand by is, you know, I'll always be honest and straight up with how I'm feeling, like no matter what. Even if you're not very vocal with things and you're not really like, oh, I can't really speak about my emotions, you know, you have to be straight up. You can't just do them dirty and leave them hanging. Like, that's just like, you gotta be a good person and just be straight up with your emotions and not play with their hearts.
You drunk at a party, or maybe it's just that your car broke down.
You know, I feel like when someone doesn't respond to you, the first thing at least my brain does is create excuses why they're not responding when they're really just not responding. You know, they're like, oh, their phone's off, they're out. And I'm not a very clingy person. Like, I'm not going to interrogate this person and get into their life and get into their business, but you know, you're always going to think about excuses, and I feel like that's kind of just ridiculous, and a lot of people let themselves do that for a very long time.
Well, your phone's been off for a couple months, so you're calling me now.
That's the worst thing ever, because it can take so long for a person to move on from something and to actually, like, recover and, like, become, like, happy. When someone, like, tries to crawl back in after the longest time, it's just so selfish. You're like, all right, man, you could have done this like 5 months ago, first of all. And second of all, like, what gives you the right, you know? Like, why aren't you taking it from my perspective? I've been taking it from your perspective the whole time and putting myself in your shoes. And, you know, you got to take it from my situation and know how I'm feeling, too.
I know you like this. When shit don't go your way, you needed me to fix it. And like me, I did. But I've been out of every reason.
Honestly, the biggest thing about toxic relationships or any situation when you're with someone you once loved or you still love, it's so hard to see that there's anything wrong with the relationship. You know, like, for you to actually realize it takes a lot of time, and you try to convince yourself that everything's okay and that you're doing the right thing always and that they're not treating you any differently. At this point in the song, I was kind of describing me at an old point where you're like, you know, every single time I would help you when you were at your low, you just kept the cycle going and kept treating me like shit. And, you know, there's nothing I can do about that except just, like, move on with my life. I feel like everyone goes through that, and everyone knows they go through it, but hate to admit it.
Now sight in the eyes can for it back. Could you tell me where'd you get the nerve?
Who do you think you are? And, like, any person in the entire world, like, you can't treat someone like that and then just expect them to welcome you back with open arms. It's so weird because I get, like, this weird feeling of emotions when I talk about these lyrics because they're so personal to me. It's so greedy and so selfish and so, like, just unaware of not putting yourself in someone else's shoes and not understanding what the other person is feeling. And also recognizing your self-worth too. That was the kind of what the chorus was feeling about, was I took so long to get over you. And now it's like, no matter how hard you try to get back in, I kind of know who I am now, and I know what I deserve, and I know that you don't need to be back in my life again.
Yeah, you could say you miss all that we had, but I don't really care how bad it hurts when you broke me first. You broke me first.
My friends are the best friends in the entire world, and they always sing this song in the car at the top of their lungs. And I know some of these girls have gone through some serious situations with like serious heartbreak, and they just scream it at the top of their lungs because, it's all about how much they know what they deserve and how much they know that they've moved on and that they don't deserve them anymore.
Took a while, was in the now when I first heard that you moved on quicker than I could have ever, that hurt.
It is painful to watch someone move on quicker than you. Because in the back of your head, like, yeah, I'm moving on too, and you're both trying to, like, prove it to each other. But it is so painful when you see someone who's going on with their life and looking happy and finding another person, and that is not a great feeling to experience, especially when they put you through so much and they can just brush it off. When you're both in a situation, if something's going to end, you're going to see the other person go on with their life and see other people. And, with social media and watching people's every single move, this is not fun. And it is a hard thing to get over.
Swear for a while I was staring at my phone just to see your name. But now that it's there, I don't really know what to say.
I think blocking is so petty, in my opinion, because I always feel I'm like, oh God, they're going to look at this and be like, they are not over me. Whereas like me, on the other hand, I'm so over you, bud. Whenever I get over someone, I just try and ignore the fact that anything happened.
What did you think would happen? What did you think would happen? I'll never let you have it. What did you think would happen?
What did you actually think was going to happen after all this happened? Like, after you skirted me out, what did you think? Do you think I was just going to be chasing after you for so long? And it's like, I don't think you're ever going to realize that you're not going to get this back, and you're not going to get to experience this relationship again. It's a bittersweet feeling, too, because you love a person, but also, once they've done damage to you, you're not going to crawl back into their life. I feel like you're worth more than that. You are good on your own. You don't need anyone else to be with you. You don't need anyone else to support you or put you up. Everyone wants to, find someone. Everyone wants to be in a relationship. It seems like the ideal thing to do. But, I feel like people need to understand that even without them, you are just as good as when you started.